Hello, I'm Stephen Monkey Mason and welcome to my Corey Haim VHS collection. Not DVDs, not Laserdiscs, not Blu-rays. Not many Blu-rays, is there? So yeah, I'm setting this up. This is going to be a long rant. They're right behind me. Can you see them? I'm pretty much painting the wall, so they've came down. I'm going to reorganise them. So yeah, picked up the big t-shirt. As I say, I moved everything around. Gone for the shot. Right, so I've talked about this before and I want to quickly give you a brief rundown. I was raised in England and then New Zealand, which is a long distance away from each other. My parents split up when I was 3-year-old. And when I got to visit my dad for the first time around the 95-ish and then into 96, I was trailing the video shops of Mott, Waker and Nelson. And cheap plug, if you check out Aotearoa, which is a free show on my YouTube page, you can see me go all the way back to New Zealand and reminisce and go down these video shop routes. So I've got a lot of memories when it comes to trying to track down Corey Haim movies, because I, like a lot of people, love the Lost Boys. My entire arm here is a tattoo of the Lost Boys. There's Haim there, there's Frog Brothers, Kiefer Sutherland's on my tits, Billy Worth up there, and then started filling out the void. I've got Thing, Jaws, The Shining script, you know. Anyway, off that rant, as I say. So I'm a massive fan. And, you know, at the time, Corey Feldman would just appear in everything. He was the voice of Donatello, he was in the Goonies, he was in the Gremlins. Gremlins was the first film I ever seen in the pictures as a kid. And then there's another Corey, and Corey at the time was quite an uncommon name. And I remember being in the video shops in the early 90s and you just turn and all of a sudden everywhere I looked was Corey Haim. Like literally Corey Haim. It was like the back end of like 95-ish and all this. And again, you didn't have like your phone with IMDb. You had more like the old big books you would get out, and you know, Haim rightfully deserved more. I'm not here to preach about his ways of his life. I was actually in Hollywood when he died. Literally, I was in Hollywood. I think it all happened in Burbank. I was absolutely shocked. I could have bumped into him down the street, and that would have been a life-changing moment for me. You know what I mean? It's just, he to me feels like someone I just missed in life. And again, that's why when I met Feldman, I wasn't going to get anything signed when Haim's on it, because I would want to track down some of, you know what I mean? I would want him to sign the same thing as that, like a license to drive a Dream Machine. So this is essentially going to be me running down this. It's going to be a pretty long video. I'm not going to do any jump cutting. This is the angle I've gone for. I'm not going to try and chop me head off every time. I just want to put them down and talk about. Now this is off IMDb, and I shit you not, right? When I was going through them, I was like, right, and I was literally baffled. I'm sure Pray the Roller Boys came after Dream Machine, but apparently not on IMDb, so I went off the IMDb list. I've got questions. So, again, this is a big box VHS collection. There is a few counterparts of different countries and stuff like that. I will briefly talk about if they're available on DVD or Blu-ray. I'm not going to show you them. There's plenty of content on the channel. I also might do a DVD collection after this as well. Not today, but along down the channel. So first up, Moving In. Dun dun dun. That was my plan, just to put them there. Moving In is known to a lot of people as Firstborn. Now, as I say this right now, when I was on Netflix last night, there is not one Corey Haim film on Netflix. Not one. It's quite a lot on Prime, but Haim is just disappearing from the public eye. If you wanted to buy a Corey Haim DVD, take away like the Lost Boys, one of you'll get Silver Bullet, Watchers if you would order it, and that's about it. The availability of his stuff is just mental. So anyway, Moving In, also known as Firstborn, which was on Netflix for a short period of time. This film, as I say, with his debut role, as I say, the artwork normally is Chris Collette just standing with Firstborn underneath his arms. It's a story of a family on the edge. He's got a baseball bat. There you go, see the baseball bats. Peter Weller is the star of it, who obviously claimed fame of RoboCop and the Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. It's really cool artworks drawn. Haim is sort of drawn in the part there at the bottom. As I say, Haim appears with Collette on the back, and what's really interesting about this film, of anything in the film genre, is the fact that him and Colette would reunite in Prayer of the Roller Boys, and there's that reference like I Know You From My Childhood, and it's literally, you could say Prayer of the Roller Boys is a sequel to that. Do you know what I mean? It's not in a sense of like, it's just that childhood jump, you know what I mean? It's been about 10 years between the films, and it's that whole like they know each other and it's there, you know what I mean? And here, I think it's mint in Prayer of the Roller Boys. But yeah, first up is Moving In. It's a 15 in the UK. I had to track this down on eBay. Pretty bad. It's my second coming. A lot of people, if you've been following us for a while, you'll know that I had an original collection that my mum threw out, and I keep always plagiarising my mum. Like, Mum, why did you chuck that out for? I'd pretty much moved out. I was getting used to my new house, left some stuff for safekeeping, and my mum just thought I'd left it. I was absolutely devastated, because not only did I lose my original collection of not just Haim and Feldman movies, home movies, videos, early edits of my own films and stuff like that, gone. Just gone. And I was absolutely devastated. And also, like, I think at the time, Rachel, my ex-girlfriend, bought me this. She tracked me this down as one of my birthday presents, and she even had some old pantomime videos that I was transferring at the time, and I just left them there, and they got chucked out, so I never heard the end of that, and I felt guilty for it, you know what I mean? So losing loads of stuff, but that was one of them. That was Moving In, runtime approximately 68 minutes. Should have went for the years on this, but this is definitely the first one. So put that back up there. Next up, according to IMDb, is Secret Amira. Dun, dun, dun. I remember getting Secret Amira from Titles. As I say, once you got them books and you could track down the Hallmark, the big, you know, the big books you used to get. They bring them out every year, like half a tree, and they would just update the odd actors in it. Secret Amira was on there. Originally bought it from Titles. This was an eBay find. You don't see a lot of these on eBay. Like, if you do, like, you've just got to jump on them straight away, and they always come middle of the month. You know what I mean? So again, this was originally bought in a VHS shop, but then I bought it from eBay. Secret Amira. It might have been one of the job lots. I got a couple of job lots a couple of years ago. I four them together. But yeah, Secret Amira. C. Thomas Howell is in this. Haim is briefly in it. It's very short role. Doesn't even get a name on the back of the box. Dean Wallace is in this. Dean Wallace as Dean Wallace Stone. She's appeared in one of my videos before. She was also in The Frighteners as well. She's a lovely lady, actually. I haven't met her, passing her. But yeah, Haim is briefly in this. It's a very old artwork. Inside, let me check that out, man. It's a Virgin. It's an Orion box. It's probably been reboxed, probably. Virgin Video. Yeah, definitely been reboxed and rehoused. See Thomas Howell on the front. Kelly Preston as well. So yeah. So that was the second one. To me, back in the day, that was the third one, because I shit you not, I'm sure Murphy's Romance comes in between them. I know every time I move I'm going to cut my head off. But next up, Silver Bullet. Obviously, hence my artwork. Right, so Silver Bullet, I think, is one of his breakout roles. Stephen King. It's a film that, you know, of all the rehash of Stephen King lately, everything seems to be getting redone. Like, Silver Bullet's been available on DVD. Scream Factories have brought it out in America. Mint artwork, Blu-ray in Germany. Just not seen the light of day over here. Proud for a remake. Right, reminds me a lot of Groundhog Day. It's just a kind of the location it's set in. I love the narration. What's really good, if you get the DVD, the first edition of the DVD, that's an 18. It's now been reclassified as a 15. The director's commentary. The director's only ever directed that film, and he sits down years later and just reminisces over it. As I say, it's got a lot to do with Jaws, when they didn't have the suit, so they had to try and make it work without the creature. I think Haim's great in it, along with Gary Busey, who would become the bad guy in Speed, and then the guy who plays Everett. What's he called again? Look at the aliens and stuff in this. Everett McGill, who obviously famous for being in Twin Peaks, will go on to be the bad guy in Under Siege 2. Based on the book by a Circle of Werewolves. This is really bad. This is old school VHS, and it's, you know, Silver Bullet's had some weird covers. It's had multiple different covers. Horror, so it's class on that. I originally got this from a second-hand VHS shop owned by a guy I know called Eric. It's Canon. As I say, it's a metamorphosis of McGill on the back. Haim does not appear anywhere on the box. He appears in a lot of the newer artwork. It's just a werewolf there as well. Pretty old, pretty battered. Look at that, man, for a tape, man. So it's an original Canon box. But yeah, I love that. I love that movie. As I say, again, it's, you know, it's still circular. It's one of the very few you can actually still buy. You can walk into HMV tomorrow and buy that on DVD. It's still there, but it's a 15. It's got no extra features. There's a one where it's like landscape. That's the one you need to look out for. Next up, A Time to Live, according to IMDb. The one very few movies where Corey Haim actually dies. As I say, I think this is a very powerful performance in this. I remember seeing this taped off television, and I never had it recently till, like, if you search Corey Haim, and I don't need to find that many more now, but sometimes searching Corey Haim's name on eBay, search the film title, and because sometimes the people selling stuff don't really know if Corey Haim's in it. He's not really branded on here. He is on the front cover. His name is second after Jeffrey. Of course, it is Golden Globe winner. It's a feature, apparently a TV movie, but got released. Unfortunately, it plays a demise. It's a life lesson story. Wow, it's been battered in black. CBS Fox is this, so this looks like it's been repackaged again. It's originally from Double Sealed Limited. So yeah, we're talking early 80s here. As I say, lost to the signs of VHS, that one. So I'm doing alright. So yeah, the idea was put in there, so yeah. As I say, as a young actor, I think he was good. He got himself in the auditions, got himself rolling in the roles, but you know, that was a very strong performance, I think. Next up, Murphy's Romance, brief here as well. Murphy's Romance has just recently been released on DVD in Australia. Sally Field, James Garner, so two big juggernauts, so eventually could get a release. It just depends on what label want to pick it up. This is an RCA, so this is the same people who did stuff like Stand By Me and the Ghostbusters. It's still got RCA red box, which is really cool. As I say, Sally Field, obviously mainly known for Forrest Gump back, and she had a massive in the mid-90s, wasn't she? Forrest Gump, Mrs. Doubtfire. As I say, the tape is in beautiful condition. It's one of my recent more purchases. I remember getting this back in the day again from Titles. Look at the crust on this. Some of these definitely need wiped down. One of the reasons I'm taking it off the shelf, I've been wanting to rebrand them for a while, but it's really cool. Past posters have a poster on there for the poster if you wanted to buy the poster more recently. So again, very short little rolls from here in all them. I think the strongest out of the two and the bigger one was Silver Bullet, and A Time to Live, quite a dramatic turn in. Next up, we've got the one that really broke the mold. It's Lucas. Lucas, that VHS is on eBay for £100. That's, you know, I didn't pay £100 for it. Lucas is quite a hard one to track down. It was original on an eBay job. Now this is what I'm saying, and went in England and compared to, sorry, America, because this was a big hit in America. This was just nowhere to be seen. Again, in Titles, Secret Admirer and Murphy's Romance were the two so far you get in Titles. But this was just like, oh yeah. And this is meant to be. Kerry Green's in this from The Goonies at the CBS Fox. CBS Fox also brought out License to Drive. It hasn't even got a name check on the actual font. It's on the side, like. Big Trouble in Little China on it as well. This is actually a flip cover, which is pretty cool. So that's the original. Lucas has been available on DVD. Seen release of Blu-ray in America. As I say, it's kind of up there with that's why it's probably the other way around. That's the alternative cover that you don't see much. But it's kind of like you know, it's a cult film in America, but just slipped under the radar. But like, anyone's a fan of the Goonies in that time, and it's just a great underdog story. And like, this is why you like Hollywood started to notice after this. It's such an award-winning performance. It's also known that Feldman auditioned for it, and Feldman got the Goonies, Haim got this, and that's sort of the early stories of the two Coreys. But here we go. Lucas. Big box VHS. So these are all big box VHSs, so they're all rental. And then we sort of, so that's the early years. And then we sort of we got The Lost Boys. It's big box VHS, signed by the legend that is Kiefer Sutherland. Lost Boys, and that one's signed by Billy Worth. I first met Billy Worth and he signed that because for years I think that should have been on a steelbook. That got lost from its big box to small box, and then we got Michael, Star together. We've had a few different editions of the Fairground and stuff like that, and then that came along on DVD and it's been the most dominant cover since. And I was one day I found it on VHS like that. I was like, I can't believe that. So I got Billy to sign that. Billy loved me arm that much. When I was talking to Alex Winter, Billy walked past us and it's on For the Love of Horror, and he was just like, hey man. It's just so funny. I got talking to Billy again. Lost Boys is one of the greatest films of the 80s. It's by far one of the nicest vampire films ever. Soundtrack's amazing. The transportation of just childhood into it as well. It's an ensemble cast. I don't agree with the new artwork with Kiefer Sutherland and Jason Patrick having the names above it. I always look at an ensemble cast. It's a great casting. And for this to be this would set off a chain reaction. So the CBS Fox, it's a big box. Very badly on the back cover, able to read that. Red font on black. It is really, really hard. My glasses were somewhere around. It's just hard. Red font on that. Say Kiefer Sutherland face on the front cover. That was the one thing I was going to get signed, and then we get the ensemble cast. And the Frog Brothers were always missing from all the artwork until they did a Blu-ray years later, where they actually just put them on the disc. There you go. So yeah, Lost Boys is one of my favourite films. It's very hard to get a big box. I know a lot of people on groups and that are always searching for a big box VHS. There is a lot of small counterparts of that with Sutherland's face on as part of the Warner Brothers little black range before they started adding Jason Patrick on and stuff like that. But that's the holy grail for any Lost Boys fans. It's an original. It's even better when it's signed to me by Mr. Sutherland himself. But yeah, the Lost Boys introduced the world mainly on the mainstream. Kiefer Sutherland as well, massive breakout, starred being in Stand By Me, and then boom with that. I should have really wiped this table down. You see how mucky my hands are. I see this table belongs underneath there. Anyway, we're up to the Lost Boys anyway. So after the chemistry of Haim and Feldman worked, and I want to make sure Jamison Newlander gets a shout out because they make that. A lot of people forget about Jamison Newlander in that trio, and I believe that Jamison Newlander should have been in this next film. And it is License to Drive. Now, I watched this the other night. I'm a big fan of License to Drive. I've been collecting Laserdisc posters and music. It's absolutely mental to know that the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is on the soundtrack, and it's when Uncle Phil, aka Shredder, is making Haim park the car and the Fresh Prince is on before the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air even happened. It's like, what? Brilliant score, proper 80s jam straight away. It has been released by Second Sight in the UK very briefly. Heather Graham's name's now slapped on the top of the box. As I say, I've collected this. This has followed me all over. Again, going back to Aotearoa when I find the VHS in New Zealand stuck to the wall in the restaurant. Can never tell that story. Love the film to bits. It's very funny. The chemistry is clearly there with Feldman and Haim. It's probably their best, as a solid solo performance, because although they would work together a lot more, this is the one where it's made so well. Supporting cast is mint, the stunts are mint, the humour. I do think the third boy gets lost because they're on the front and there's three friends. Do you know what I mean? It's very rare that you see, you know what I mean, there's the other friend, and it could have been Jamison Newlander. I think is really good. There's some great chemistry in there, and obviously the reference to the Lost Boys with Feldman banging on the car trying to fix it. He's like, don't worry about the noise, man, my parents are vampires. But just the music cues and stuff like that. And it's a great film, as I say. I remember as a kid, this was ridiculously hard to get a hold of. Obviously the Lost Boys one I've had for a while. Lost Boys was always about, but License to Drive was one of the ones I remember and actually bought the VHS, which is one of my original collection I somehow still got from Global, back catalogue, and a Global Blockbuster. Blockbuster have a massive ordering list back in the day of the books, and that was how I was first to get to see License to Drive. This was an eBay job, and as I say, if you look on the channel, there's loads of stuff to do with License to Drive. The big box from New Zealand stuck to the wall, the American counterpart I got more recently. Laserdisc as well as the soundtrack. But yeah, License to Drive, absolutely mint comedy, and it should be honoured. Of all this era of like stuff like coming out like 88 Films and all these other counterpart labels to Arrow Video, I think this deserves, I mean, it's on now Second Sight. Second Sight have been dibble dabble in the big ass box sets. A poster, you know what I mean, it's just chucked out on DVD and gone. If you didn't pre-order that, you never got it in. As a massive mega shop that I worked in, like, it came out and the only copy we got in was the My copy. It just, you know, Second Sight wasn't a label 10 years ago. So yeah, amazing film, and it needs preserved. Probably end up on, because it's Fox, isn't it? 20th Century Fox. It's probably going to end up on Disney Plus. And there's been rumours of it being remade anyway. So that was License to Drive. So according to IMDb, next up, let's get the whole three there. Another story to tell. That's one of the nicest VHSs. That's the New Zealand counterpart, and that's the original UK one. This is horrible. That's amazing. And that is just amazing. So Watchers, I enjoy Watchers so much. I actually watched Watchers quite a few nights back. Cheesy score. It's not Jerry Goldsmith, it's Joel Goldsmith's music. Creatures on the Loose. The book is absolutely amazing. If you get to read the book's amazing. The film misfires a lot. I mean, like in the film, Travis and Nora, who's his mum in the film, are in the book. They're lovers. In this, they're not. And then the woman who plays his mum in this is actually the girl who Haim is sex pesting and all what a night years ago. I was absolutely shocked when I realised that. Watchers, there's a cover to cover video where I talk about all the different versions of Watchers covers and how it's been changed. Has been available on DVD by Studio Canal, which comes in a nice like red box. So Studio Canal's been doing a lot of stuff with like John Carpenter's, and people are talking about maybe the Highlander coming out because recently Total Recall got the full big polish and came out on 4K, especially jumping to 4K. So Studio Canal could possibly slip Watchers out on Blu-ray. Watchers has about 4 sequels as well. Always go high price on eBay. But when it comes to when I've got them from, this one personally has a lot of history with me. Video Village in Nelson, New Zealand was the first time I ever physically seen Watchers, and that was the cover. And it's been documented loads on my channel and stuff like that, of finding that, buying that, working my pocket money back in '96 to buy it. And then 10 years later, when I was back in New Zealand with my brother, the video shop was still open, and obviously the replacement VHS was still there. That's an England counterpart there with the creatures on the front, and that is an amazing German import. The German ones are amazing. It's not the only one in this collection. The wraparound box, the artwork on that's stunning. So again, if you look at it, that's now what is on the DVD. So that went from the VHS to that on the DVD. And then you've got mint artwork like that. And the films, it's a product of the 80s. It's a horror 80s film. And again, 88s. But again, the core who own it on DVD is Studio Canal. But again, it's had its, you know, it's had its go. But again, it's one that's still available. But quite a bit of lessons lost. 5 sequels, man. Dean Arcundes. But really, check the book out. It's mint. So there we Watchers. Right after that, according to IMDb, his Dream a Little Dream. So Haim broke his foot. Now these films are back to back because you can tell by Haim's mushroom cloud exploding hair at this point, where it's all curly whirly, and we get Dream a Little Dream. Now Dream a Little Dream to me is another one. There we go. That is from Mochuega, New Zealand, because again, when I got to New Zealand, Dream a Little Dream was one of them ones I never seen in England, and there we are. So Corey Haim and Corey Feldman reunited. Again, this is after License to Drive. Haim's broke his foot and been added to the cast, they say. The film starts off... I mean, the best thing about this movie is the score, the soundtrack. It's packed. It's like watching a music video with the Haim and Feldman in the middle. It's just mental. The music cues, rock-ons used off Billy Wilde, Townsend Wilde. It's just mint. For years, I literally didn't know what the fuck this film was going on about. Like Yoda, body swapping. I mean, what happens to the other guy who swaps into Feldman's body? The bit where it's meant to be the old guy in Feldman's body, but then he starts dancing like Michael Jackson, and it's just like, what's going on here? Meredith is amazing in it as well. So it's a batshit crazy movie. But again, back in the day, could not find Dream Little Dream anywhere. Now this is where First Independent came along, and they started releasing a lot of Haim stuff. And this is about when Haim was huge in the UK. At this point, it had been dribs and drabs. Again, it starts off and it just shows you how much chemistry Corey Haim and Corey Feldman had at the start, where it's just them in front of the camera, and it's like they were going on about the dogfight and the growling at each other and like the music cues. And there's a bit even when the Lost Boys posters in the background, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's mental, you know what I mean? But a huge cast. And these are the counterparts. That's a New Zealand one I had as a kid. And then this is super rare. Now, I nearly got in a bidding war with this. You don't see many of these big boxes around. It got reissued. So Vesteron. Vesteron Video have brought out stuff recently like The Parents and like The Gate. And Living Dead Return Free or something like that. So they might actually bring that out. I think this could go well on Arrow. It's quirky enough, like 16 candles and weird science to be there. As I say, no extra features. It's been available on DVD in America, but never seen the light of day since its VHS days in England. And actually, if you check out the Glenn Malpass Wall stair music video, which is on the stairs, that is the front cover. That's painted on the stairs where Haim's got his cosmic red hair. So yeah, as I say, Dream Little Dream, as I said, needs to be available. I do think it just belongs on the label. Next up, dun dun dun. This is where Haim is huge. Now, these are Prayer of the Renegades. So, it appears a lot on my channel. I've done videos with Vampire Mike and Dan. It's Launch TV. Recently just got a new German poster of this. This is the original VHS. I used to rent this, the titles, and they would come. See, this is why I don't believe it's after, because I used to rent this and watch this, and this had the trailers for Fast Getaway and Dream Machine. It's also the one known where Haim actually does the adverts. He was that popular, and if you bought Prayer of the Roller Boys or any of its counterparts like Fast Getaway, when they were available, the four would be Dream Little Dream, Fast Getaway, Dream Machine, Prayer of the Roller Boys. So anyway, music's class in it. 9 Inch Nails and King Swamp. Great stunt work. I love the score. The score is mint. We've done it, as I say, we've went right into this with the Weird, Wacky but Wonderful video. The artwork, go on about the artwork. That artwork is what I remember as a kid. That's one I seen in New Zealand, and it's great. Mr. Smith once again. We went for an orange box, and that's the newer one. Again, that's the German counterpart. It's just called Roller Boys as well. The film's mint. It is mint, and I have talked about this so many fucking times. It should be released now. This is a title for 88 films to get. I don't think it's an Arrow title. I don't think it's a 101. I think it's 88. I think like they could. I mean, there's not much extra features on the DVD. Essentially, the trailers there. It's just kind of like one of those films where you see the stuff they're bringing out, like The Eliminators, or you look at the catalogue and they're bringing like Rumble Punch and all these films coming out. It just like it needs reserved. I mean, I watched it recently. I was like, this film's mint. I mean, it's stupid in a way that they've got rollerblades on, and everywhere they go, they're rollerblades. But they're like sort of like a Sons of Anarchy kind of group. They're all on rollerblades going around. I mean, they drive cars with rollerblades on. You know, they limit themselves to what they can do as an evil corporation because they're all on rollerblades. But like, it's a sign of the times. It has that Riller Man Fallout vibe. It's Haim just looks great in it. He just looks great in it, and his hair, like, I mean, I've been bald for years, but like you look at his hair in this and it just looks class. And then the fights, but again, Christopher Collette from Moving In, Firstborn, playing his counterpart, Patricia Arquette in it, you know what I mean? When you see the DVD artwork and Patricia Arquette's name's above Haim, you're like, oh no. More recently as well, I tapped out of the bidding war for 4 VHSs, the American counterparts. There was a red tape version of this. It would have came out about £100. I was keeping, nah, I'm not doing that. But this needs released. It's never seen the light of day in the UK since VHS. I'm honoured to have a big ass poster sitting there as well. So next up, dun dun dun, Fast Getaway. One of my very first Haim ones, really. As I say, there was this time in titles And again, Pray the Roll Boys originally I would have got from titles. This is one I've seen as well. Cynthia Rothrock's on and then off. She's not on the small box. So this is the big box one. This is sort of just miss when it comes to, you can see what it wanted to be, it's just a little bit on the low budget side. Great idea, you wouldn't get away with now. Father and son just doing the laps of Utah area, Salt Lake City kind of thing, where he uses his son as bait and then into a hostage. Some great chases in this. It's got some quirky scores to it. It looks like he's had a lot of fun in this. It's again, it's a coming of age, but this is like the teen Frob days. This is like again, it's sort of action packed, and there's a great stunt at the end where they're hanging off the back of the car. Cynthia Rothrock as well. There you go. Please rewind. First independent as well. It was a great movie, you know what I mean? Action one. I would say that this and its sequel, which will be coming up soon, should just get released as a double pack. But again, that's not seen the light of day since VHS. As I say, for an action movie going on there, it's just a little on the ground. But yeah, it's a great film. Next up, there's 3 of these. So we got Dream Machine. So we got Hello Charlie, Dream Machine, its counterpart from New Zealand, and its German one. Right, so going back to my New Zealand rant, and this video is epic, and you wanted me to do a collection of Corey Haim VHSs. At least I'm not going to go, that one, this one, that one, bye, and have 4 adverts. Sorry, I just cut my head off. Right, okay. Going back to New Zealand, 96, United Video in Motueka is where I first seen that, and it's took me ages to actually find one of them. So, Corey Haim is back behind the wheel is the tagline for it. Haim, obviously notoriously known after License to Drive. This was trailered like fucking Pray the Roll Boys and Fast Getaway. There's a video as well if you see me doing the unboxing. There's a funny outtake where I'm on the phone to him, and it's like it just worked as a filler. Again, it took ages for that to come from New Zealand. It's battered, it's haggard, it's, you know what I mean, but like back in the day, I rented it for the first time in New Zealand, so I've got fond memories of watching this in New Zealand for the first time and realised it's fucking nothing like the trailer. It's not a comedy. It's got some comedy elements, but it's more of a like, you know, Corey Haim is a hard throb of this. It's got fraternities in, it's American football. There's a dead guy in the front of the Porsche, and he's driving around with it in, and it's got some funny bits, and then it's got some, it's got a theme song and it busts into a music video, like cheesy 90s montage. But again, that was the one. That turned up on eBay, the Teen Dream Machine again. It's not as nice as the Watchers or the Roller Boys, but it's really cool to have the German counterpart, which just goes to show how popular he was in Germany. And again, getting that one, and that's the original entertainment video. But again, I'd never seen that. Like, you're walking in the titles and I'm telling you about Fast Getaway there, Scuba School and all that were there. This one just wasn't. Hard to get a hold of. Had to get this from this is part of probably a 4 collection I bought off the Searcher 69 as he's called. If you ever get a deal with him on eBay, class guy, loads of VHSs, all in good condition. I wasn't even bothered about that being battered and haggard. The reason why I didn't buy Dream Machine in New Zealand is United Video actually burned down. So yeah, Dream Machine. Right, so we're over halfway there. Next up, I'm going to bring these down together. So, Dream Machine has not been available on anything since VHS. Just to point that out, Casper's got a version of it on DVD, and it looks like someone's just took a camera and stuck it in front of the telly. Anyway, off that rant. It is on Laserdisc though. It's on the floor there, I can see it. And I've still got it sealed. Investment. Didn't even know it was sealed. Like, I was like, wow. Right, okay, so Dream Machine, Dream Little Dream, Pray the Roll Boys, Haim was boop. But Haim never really had a massive hit like the Lost Boys. I mean, picture-wise and stuff like that. Pray the Roll Boys was put on at the pictures, briefly, and you know what I mean, saved the big market. But he then had a choice, and like, the bin man's coming up the street. Anyway, he had a choice, and these were the 2 choices. Now, the films were the same year. This one and this one. Right, we'll go for Double O Kid. I recently rewatched this and did audio commentary for it as well. Haim's rocked his hair, bleached it to the first appearance along with Nicole Eggert, who would become his girlfriend. Bridget Nielsen's in this as well. Absolutely batshit crazy. Literally batshit crazy. I mean, he's got a few references in there. Did I admit? No. He's got a few references in there to Batman Forever. Batman Returns premiere's happening. Drives past the limousine. This point, Haim's too old for this role. He's meant to be 16 or something in it, and he's meant to be a secret agent. It's a nod on the 007. He's running around armed with a super soaker. It's weird and baffling, and it like on paper it probably like sounded good and somewhere in the right direction, but the execution wasn't very good at all. 00 Kid was massive on VHS over here because it came out a couple of years after. I know people like Global Video had packs of these. I remember walking past this and not realising that was him because he was here. It has seen a release recently on Blu-ray in Germany. But yeah, it was a proper weird one. And then you've got this. Now this was again from titles. And if you were looking for him, you can almost miss him because his face is like in the blue red box on top of that. Robert Carl Trade is in this, which warrants why it got released over here with him being, did you know he was in Flash Gordon and just randomly opened the airport. Yeah, he's a massive deal at doing there. Look at that, Fox Video. It's definitely been reboxed. Pretty damaged actually at the bottom. I don't think I've ever fucking noticed that. But yeah, there's a bit, man, there's a bit with the guys in the car. In like Cash Pot. Who looks like Casper, is like gets this guy in the car, and it's John Ray Fiennes from Indiana Jones. So they've got some big names in this mind around the right time, and gets killed by like nothing. He crashes the car, and the car keeps like damaging, and Cash Point's like laughing at him. Next thing you know, the car just flips upside down. I'm like, what the fuck? Right now, so and the choice is the right direction. That was a better direction, but went right under the radar. Corey Haim really gives a brilliant performance in this. I've recently done this as a fast forward reviews. I'd watched it. The love interest with his mom from Watchers, like okay, it was really good. And there's some stunning stuff. There's a bit where he's in the barn and like just the way it's lit. It's just so so lovely looking, and he said cheesy there, and he looks great in this. He really looks great, and it's been well directed. In a better role, it's quite creepy when it pans round and he's just sitting in the grass looking at them, and he's got that fucking stare where this film can either go into a love story or he's going to turn up to freaking be a serial killer, and it's the whole family thing. And it's just, I don't like the ending though. He gets what she wants. She's like, see you later, I've lost my husband because I slept with you and I've got 3 kids, and he's like, bye. Just a passage of life. But with it being set in the 50s, and you know, again, that's where they should have gone. Again, like forget about that. Like, I feel that is a bit more back to Lucas and that kind of era where it seemed to be going in the right direction from. But anyway, they're the counterparts. One from Global, one from Titles back in the day. Next up, dun, 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 one of the 4 reunitings of the 2 Coreys. This is a big box. This is another one from Titles. Obviously got a flip cover. I said obviously. It's a flip cover on there. Check out my video for Blown Away. I went on a massive ranging tangent about 6 years ago now about Blown Away. I didn't have this then. I had to it took a while to track back down. I actually bought this one off Amazon, and you know when you go to other formats, and it was a VHS, and it was just like, do I risk it for a biscuit? Because it hasn't been released in the small box. It's a 2020, and it came out. You get in, because it should have been there for a while. All I had was this, and that's this is the German one. That's my other German one, but it's smaller. Obviously goes all the way around. So yeah, the German ones are pretty awesome. Like, great idea for the film. Filmed obviously in a ski resort when it's out of season, so they've literally got the run of the hotel, put the cast and crew in there. Nicole Eggert's in this as well, obviously coming off the back end of 00 Kid. Lots of sex scenes, lots of sexy scenes. I quite like the cheesy score. Again, this is an 18 rated, so this is like more one of the first ones that went from like, he's now right, bang, he's an 18. Casting him and Feldman as brothers for the first time in a movie. As I say, I enjoyed it. Again, I've seen this as such an early age. You know, I shouldn't have been renting that when it's like, you know what I mean, it's an 18, but that's a nice duck, that whole, get the duck on the back there.
Murder Mystery, again, just a one for the VHS range. Has been released on DVD in the UK. It was one of the very early releases, Hollywood DVD era. Got misprinted, so it only had really one run because they put 2 18s on the front cover. I was like, well done. Got one of them. Again, check out the Blown Away video. After that, Nicole Eggert again. And we got Just One of the Girls, also known Anything for Love. This is another title special. This was donated to me by Mr. Smith. He just sent us it. And again, it's just like, again, going back to that, I actually found the Laserdisc and saw Thumbs in New York. So I love a good discovery story about the VHSs. Like a lot of these have just been like, oh yeah, found them in there in New Zealand, or titles and stuff like that, because you just don't see them. But this one's, I love the tune on this. 2020 Vision, again, they picked up that and Blown Away. So Haim went from first independent, and obviously at this point you can see the transition over to fucking bin man to 2020 Vision there. They obviously came quite popular in the 90s. 2020 Black. It's in fucking lovely condition, that still. Not a flip cover. It's a film where Haim's got a bit of a, what we would call in England, a bit of a Chelsea going on there. Haim dressing up as a girl like he did in Fast Getaway. As I say, just to get into Nicole Eggert basically. Again, it's that, again, it's gone from the teen heartthrobs to like maybe the teen comedy on that one again. Great front cover, I think, for a VHS from back then. It's far better than the American counterpart, which dressed as a cheerleader. So that's one of like, yeah, I think that is a fantastic cover. Again, at the era of going in the mid-90s VHS shops, you know, you see that, right, bang, you're going to get it, do you know what I mean? Right, next up, a film I watched the other night. Scuba School, also known as Last Resort in America. We just filmed a video about this. I was fucking howling watching this the other night. Let Dred Zeppelin start off. I remember seeing this back in the day in titles once again. And then finding out it was called Last Resort when I got to New Zealand. The bit where he's just like, hey, stop doing that, and he's doing this, and he's like, you already did that in The Lost Boys, and then it cuts to the, like, some of the editing on this is just so wild and wacky. Again, Haim and Feldman. Again, like, they're looking for a comeback, and like on paper, Blown Away would have made sense. Get to hang out, get a paycheck, hang out with his girlfriend, you know, at this resort. And when this one comes along, they're like, right, it's National Lampoons. And at this time, National Lampoons had done the Vacations, but they're also Animal House, and they've just done Load of Weapon 1. And then National Lampoons just went down a fucking roller coaster, man. And you know what I mean? And the execution of this, I mean, they made a big effort. They had massive publicity for this. I mean, I've got a one sheet. Everyone knows what a one sheet is. For a competition for a video shop, they were really hammering this home. And I watched it the other night, and I've got fond memories of it. You know what I mean? And it's just ludicrous, some of it in it. And as I say, there's a couple of Lost Boys references there. You can see that they're trying the best, as I say. But yeah, it's never seen the light of day on DVD. It's out on DVD in America. Even came out on Laserdisc. I just keep saying the Laserdisc. They're sitting there. That'll be another video. Next up, he returns to Fast Getaway. Dun dun dun. That's a sample one, so what you would get that is, you would get that sent out to the shops to see if you want it. That's pretty cool. That is a flip cover, and that's the cover on the flip cover. Another one I've seen, and like doesn't look like him, and picked it up. Again, run around titles. I've never seen it anywhere else. Recently picked it up on DVD in Germany, 2 different versions of it. It's called The Fast Corp, The Getaway Corpse, something like that. Then there's a second one, just like weird. So Haim returns along with the rest of the cast from the original in small roles, very bitty roles. It's nothing compared to its counterpart. There are some ludicrous scenes in this. Check out my unboxing of it. There's a bit where I just love the dun 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 when he's getting chased off the agent, and it's the dun 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 dun, and he's running across the desert and it keeps cutting back the agent. Dun 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 dun. I had to put it in the video because I was howling, and then he hides behind a small tree, and when the secret agent man can't find him and he gets smacked in the face with a sign, you think, oh my dear God. Compared to the first one, it's just been a quick fill. It's meant to be thinking back to like where we always wanted like a Prey of the Roller Boys 2, because Prey of the Roller Boys was completely left open for a sequel and we never got that, and then we get a Fast Getaway 2. Again, it just left it there. he's grown up. He's a very different kind of character in it, I think, from the first one. But yeah, again, just filmed around the Utah area. Fast Getaway 2. Again, bring them out together as a box set. Next up, there's another sequel. Reunited again with him. It's Dream a Little Dream 2. Just like, they make a sequel to the first one. So it only features the two Coreys. The rest of the cast are gone. They've got these sunglasses on, which one does what one does when. Him at this time, he's got like the first look at that hippie role. So I would say this was filmed next to Scuba School. I would say Fast Getaway 2 became before Scuba School, but whatever, IMDb. There's some great scenes in this. The cast from Fast Getaway 2 are actually in this. So that probably would make sense because his dad's a street preacher. And then there's a scene where Feldman keeps running up the stairs. It's just like clearly like only a 3-story building, but he keeps running up there. Feldman also looks like he just turned up, was filming a film called Red Line. If you get to see a film called Red Line, because he looks like he's turned up in Red Line. Mental, but I remember going into titles and that was sitting on the shelf like that. And I was like, what? Dream a Little Dream 2? The American release of the DVD, him looks bong-eyed on the front cover. It's a really bad trying to recapture what was on the original artwork. But it's just a mental film. But again, first independent. So we're back to first independent on that one. So yeah, first independent for Fast Getaway 2 as well. So, you know, we went distribution because they did the next one as well. So it might be a coincidence that all these films that are first independent in England have not been released as DVDs since. But this is never too late. This is one of Haim's best films. Flip cover. It's a supporting act. I mean, the film is driven by these guys. It's an all guys couple. It's a Canadian film, obviously being filmed back across the border. Haim plays an SMN, but then gets involved in the story and all that. It's a nice little like role from him as well. It reminded me more of like some of the roles River Phoenix did in the early 90s. I mean, he doesn't even he gets his name middle on it. But the supporting cast on this are great. As I say, it's all about old people's homes and how the money's getting. There's some dodgy dealings going around with people's money while they're in homes. I love that from cover as well. Quite hard to get a hold of. As I say, it goes for quite a bit of money. His DVD. Next up, hello. What's he called? Is he called Dean? I've just spoken to somebody called Dean. Hi, Dean. I posted a picture of all them on the group. And he was, were you not the one I just watched with Shooter on the Side? Yep. So this is Shooter on the Side. It is a sample cover from Europe. It does no VHS in it. It was just put there as part of that. The mental story about that, if you check out the Shooter on the Side video, is I posted this and Haim's mum was like, I haven't even got that one. I was like, whoa, that's Corey Haim's mum on Facebook. So, man, such a nice woman as well. And obviously there's a lot of Corey's groups and like the groups that Tara's got and stuff like that. I love following them because it's like a window into someone's life and there's, you know what I mean. But yeah, there's Shooter on the Side. It looks like it was going to get released. That's what it is, a sample. So the artwork was down, but yeah, never been released and no one's pretty much seen it. Just disappeared into limbo, like Universal Groove. So that never got released. That's a bit of a cheap plug, but then this got released. Dun, dun, dun. So around this time, Haim popped up in Batman and Robin, which blew my mind years later. So I do need that for the collection. And Wishmaster 2, whatever. Jim Varley. Ernest wasn't as big in England as he was in America, but he was big in New Zealand. Bridget Nielsen again. So she's back from Double O Kid. Ski Patrol is one of my favourite snowboarding movies, and this tried to be that. I remember this just being a right sticker. It's skis versus snowboards. This came out very late on. As I say, Snowboard Academy. Been available on DVD in America, but it's never seen the light of day in that. And this is one which probably just going to live on VHS. Ski Patrol. I absolutely love Ski Patrol, right? And it's never been released. It had a brief appearance on Netflix. And it's mint. I recently watched Out Cold, and there's something good about them. Like hotel, like again, you could say Blown Away was filmed in the same ski resort out of season, but again, it's this kind of, there's humour in there, and a ski resort, and this one just miscued. But TriStar Pictures brought it out over here in the UK. So next up, we're nearly done. A few more. This is just going off the IMDb. Beaver Lake. Right, so that's the Japanese. It's the only Japanese ones I have. And then we've got Fever Lake. Now this came out in England. I walked past it in Global. I was like, fucking hell. And Haim is on twice. I've also seen the License to Drive cover used for this, looking like a zombie. On paper, this probably looked good, and I couldn't believe it when I seen it. It's obviously The Shining is massively referenced in this. It even goes to the woman writing on there, the fucking typewriter, The Shining, and it's just like, oh no, it's like Friday the 13th clone. And it's weird as well because like him, he's a killer, he's not a killer. You've got the curse boy. He's got his glowing green eyes. This could have went like really violent, but it's all like who's doing it at the end. And at the end of the day, if you want to see him like literally lose it at the end with an axe and all that, I think he's great in it. I just think still casting him to like older in that, that's a problem. He's definitely older than he's meant to be cast. You've also got Saved by the Bell, Mario Lopez in there as well. But it's a total misfire movie. When I was watching it for the podcast, I was like, oh my dear God, it's going there. It's going there. And it's just... But again, it was great to see a film come out. Because stuff like Universal Groove never got released and stuff like that. And these films would disappear. But it was great for global video. Like, because Blockbuster wouldn't support stuff like this. The independent stuff wouldn't get it. Blockbuster would get stuff like this in bulk. And that's the discovery. Again, we're still talking early days of the internet. Do you know what I mean? So, again, for what it was on paper, I think, again, I don't think it was a poor choice because it probably would have been sold a good idea. I just don't think it was executed. It's absolutely mental. Next up, Demolition High. Boom. Never got released in the UK. And Demolition High hits around before Blown Away, I would probably say. Brandon Under Siege, big action movie. Again, I was just like, get in. Never happened. And then we had a sequel, Demolition U. Okay, see where I'm going here? So this is where Demolition U was made anyway. So Haim came back for another series. Again, this series never seen the light of day in the UK until Demolition University got released on its own. So, it's a sequel. I walked past this in Global and I had to double check it was. And like, you see the space here? Why doesn't that say Corey Haim? That's Corey Haim right there. Lush cover. Lush cover. It's a It's a Warner Brothers release as well. Yeah, but yeah, never got released until then. So that's a weird one. I picked up the German counterparts, which is really cool. So that's part of my German collection. I might put my German ones together when I put these all back in order. Right, last but not least, I believe this is the rarest one, and it's last because that's what IMDb says it's last. This is where VHS sort of died and DVD would become the next physical format. As I say, the only ones I think I probably could miss from there as a UK base are Wishmaster 2, questionable, and Batman and Robin. And I refused to pay an eBay price for Batman and Robin VHS. It's one of the biggest VHSs released. They rolled that out. They rolled the film out quicker than, you know what I mean? Right. It is Without Malice. Now, I had this on DVD and I got one of the first batches, and along with Fever Lake and I think Silver Bullet, when I moved out of my mum's, because that's pretty much all the VHS DVDs that were out then. Oh, we're on red. We'll have to go quickly on this. They're gone. And I found Fever Lake in Scotland in my mum's other house, but then I was like, oh, Without Malice might be here. No. So Without Malice disappeared. I've seen it for £100 on eBay. The guy says, oh, 50 quid. And then I found this. Now, this is from Australia. I found it when I was in New Zealand on eBay. It is a first edition VHS. So yeah, it's Without Malice. It's a real thing. It's not like Shooter on the Side. One of Haim's underrated performances, when they accidentally shoot a hunter, when they think they're going to shoot a bear or something like that, and it's all about mysterious and like don't say anything. I love that movie, and to find a big box VHS of it, icing on the cake. You know what I mean? Because like, I don't have the DVD. I will have it eventually. I will track it down again. But yeah, when it comes to big VHS, that's it. That's the biggest collection I think I know of. Do you know what I mean? So it hooks on my head. So yeah, as I say, I'll be back for more outtakes. We've got an outtake behind us. And then if you like this kind of series, I will be doing filming as well as the VHS. And after them, I'll come back and revisit the DVDs and a bit more of that. I have done stuff like this in the past. But again, that is a complete collection now when it comes to it. There's a few counterparts and stuff like that. Or I did once upon a time have the Backlot Murders on American Import and Life 101. So I'm aware of these, but tracking down, especially in England now, especially everything that's gone on with the Brexit and the EU. As I say, going back to that Pray of the Roller Boys, Fast Getaway 1 and 2 and Blown Away were a job lot. And by the time you add on how much I would have paid, then the postage, then the new customs charge, and then the possibilities of getting a customs charge once it hits the UK, it was going to be well over £100. And like, as I say, tracking this stuff down, expensive. I don't think I've ever paid too much for it. I think the max I will pay for is about £30 for some of these, but they can go for ridiculous amounts of money. I know Pray of the Roller Boys is on eBay at the moment for £60. I know Lucas is on there for £100. Demolition U is £30, so there is stuff on there. But all the Corey Haim fans out there, what a miss. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. Drop some comments, any questions, yep, do it. And as I say, I'll be revisiting more stuff like this in the present. Thanks for watching. See you in the outtakes.
Now who's smiling? Now who's smiling? Now who's smiling? Now who's smiling?
Hello in the outtakes. You may have noticed the posters came down. The trespass poster. Dun, dun, dun. Because the poster I was on about, The Last Resort, is going up. So I'm going to have a bit of a move around today. Plus I've just checked it really glows well, so up there. But I'll use my table. So this is the outtake. First up, American counterparts. The three of the Amigos. As I said, I don't have many, but this is what Life 101 and Backlot Murders were like back in the day for me. Fast Getaway. That was a present, which was really good find. So was that. So the ex brought them back from America. That was part of a job lot I got recently. Very similar, very pinky that one, isn't it? And again, silver bullet. just a massive fucking head in the fucking trees. Like, be careful. So that was the original outtake part, and then that's the one from New Zealand. Which was stuck to the wall, big ass spongy ass box. So the New Zealand collection is that licensed Dream Machine and watches and Dream Little Dream. That's pretty cool to have like a New Zealand mini collection there. When they go back on the wall, when it's all painted, I'm going to try and, you know, put the Germans together and stuff like that. There's another one up there. Last Resort's up there. Damn. Hang on. Jump cut, ding. There you go, Last Resort. So let's just look in there. Because the Feldman one won't be that big. Edge of Honor, Goonies, Turtles, Legal Entry, Summer Vacation, Meatballs 4. Born Bad Legion, No Surrender, Maverick, Loaded Weapon, Bordello Blood, Round Trip to Heaven, The Gremlins, Burbs, Stand By Me, Rock and Roll High School, Stormtrooper, Voodoo, and Lipstick Camera, as well as the ones he's done with him. So yeah, that was originally the outtake. So while I'm here and cleaning up the place, I need to sort the Laserdiscs out. So there's Dream Little Dream on Laserdisc. Again, look at the cover. But that's the American counterpart, so it's slightly different to the UK VHS. That's great. There is Dream Machine. That is still sealed, factory sealed as well. Bitchin' ass back cover. Bitchin' ass back cover. So, though that's the American, it's exactly the same as the VHS over here. Redline, that's the only physical media I've ever seen of Redline. That's the one where Feldman just ran up away from Dream Little Dream to film that. Gremlins, of course. The Burbs, a Japanese import. These are Feldman ones. There you are, just one of the girls. I told you the VHS was a hell of a lot better. Found that in England. That's a pretty fine. Laserdisc 4 Silver Bullet. Again, it just looks like someone stuck the VHS there. Nice shiny thing. Like, come on. Last Resort. Dun dun dun. Got Rock and Roll High School Forever. The only other person I know who's got one of these in the world is a Dan. Hiya Dan. And last but not least, watches. Fucking baffling cover that. That's the Japanese one of watches. Again, you don't see many of them, especially on the Laserdiscs, going back to the import thing. They're normally like 30 quid minimum.
and then you've got the postage, which could be over the more than the amount, then the customs fee, and it's just, oh, come on, fuck off. And again, I've just been getting a few. Melissa has just messages about this, and Shooter on the side. There is a cult thing to find out about this movie. That is pretty much just a sample edition of what artwork could have been like, ready for release in Germany. One for the collection, the only one that doesn't have anything in. I've been Steve Monkey Mason. I will return for more content about him, probably filming down the line. Goodbye for now.
And now, the end is here.
Hello, right at the end of the Corey Haim video. The Laserdisc for licensed drives on the wall in the other room, but the other Laserdisc I totally missed there was the Lost Boys, which I do have, but it's signed by Mr. Patrick there, so it's stuck to the wall. Yeah, so again, I think the Laserdisc has just been chucked in here, so we'll get there. I need this again, the shelves are bare, I need to paint that wall and put the VHSs on, so thanks very much for watching this. Goodbye.